The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters. Is RMG Guns part of the DeVore case where...
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, we're part of the DeVore case. However, right now, it's all been stayed, so it's not really helping us. But in the beginning, we were. So we had the Freedom Week. The one thing that is a fact out there right now is that there's different levels of enforcement on this law. If you're in Lake County, Cook County, DuPage County, or Sangamon County, the law is being enforced. If you're anywhere in the other 98 counties in Illinois, it's a fact that these laws are not being enforced. So we try to stay out of it at this point.
Okay, very good. If somebody came in and wanted to buy, well, you said it's not being enforced, and you're in Lake County. If somebody wanted to come in and buy an AR-15, I'm guessing you would not sell it to them. If they're not an exception in the law, that's what I mean.
Right. If they're not part of the carve-out, we would not sell it.
Okay.
And there's other places in Illinois you could walk in and say, I want to buy an AR-15, and they will sell it to you.
Okay, very good. Very good. So how do you advertise and market to customers?
So our advertising is Facebook, mostly. We do have a website. We rely heavily on word of mouth, and word of mouth is working for us. People are finding us all the time. If you Google us and you're anywhere in the area, we pop up first. Our reviews have been very good. So for the most part, people that have a good experience like to talk about it, or if they have a deal. And we usually always have some kind of gun deal or ammo deal going on. And people that get a good deal love to talk about a good deal. So we rely heavily on word of mouth. However, we do use Facebook. And when we do one of our videos, we have about 450 or so regular viewers on Facebook. But we're always trying to build on that, too.
Folks, if you like this guy, John Sisek, he does Facebook videos on new items, and they're briefs. They're kind of like a TikTok where it's a minute long, so it's not like you have to sit there for a half an hour and listen to a review. It's actually very helpful. So I see him all the time. I see him more than he sees me because I'm watching the videos online. What trade shows does the store participate in?
Well, we do go to the SHOT Show. I mean, that's the big daddy of them all. And we do one in Nashville that the different distributors put on these shows. And on any given year, we may go to one or the other. For example, this year, Big Rock Sports had one in Nashville, and I attended that one. And what they do is they give you opportunities. Margins are small for the most part in the gun business. What they do is they give you, to go to these shows, you get an opportunity to maybe get something where you can make a little bit more margin, or give your customers a better deal than they would get someplace else. So these shows are important to attend. You find about everything that's new. And this whole business is about networking. And when you're there, you're networking.
Absolutely. Do those distributor shows, do they have any educational seminars, or is it just pretty much like an expo?
It's like an expo, but they do have seminars. I actually did an ATF one at one of the shows where the ATF went through about how to fill out your 4473s and gave instructions about that, how to stay out of trouble with the ATF. When you go to one of these shows, Glock is going to be there, Smith & Wesson is going to be there, and somebody's there always to talk about their new product. And they're usually very good about that. Sometimes they have the new guns for you to shoot, and it's very educational. And you're always looking for deals. We're always looking for a deal somewhere.
What advice can you give for either new shooters or people considering purchasing a firearm for the first time?
I would say two things are very important. One is get some education. You don't have to take a firearms class before you purchase a firearm, but I think it helps. Here, if you take our beginner handgun class, you can shoot. She's got about 25 different guns for you to shoot: a revolver, a full-size handgun, a concealed carry size handgun. And you can shoot that ahead of time and feel it in your hand, feel what the recoil is, feel how the grip fits in your hand. And you can get some ideas about what you may want. If you've already bought your handgun, I still say get some education. So we have our beginner classes, and then we have intermediate classes. And if you want to learn to shoot better, if you want to learn something, we'll make a class for you. We'll put one together for your needs.
That's absolutely terrific. Can you tell our listeners about what upcoming events you have and when they are?
I'd be happy to. So going along with our part of the conversation where we're talking about training, we have on May 5th a cleaning class, right? If you shoot them, they have to be clean. They have to be in good working order. So May 5th is gun cleaning class. You bring your own gun, and we're going to teach you how to clean it. May 9th and 23rd are beginning pistol classes. So there's a couple openings in each of those. We maxed it out at 6, so people have time to ask questions and go through. We teach the stance. We go through drills for correcting malfunctions. They're very good classes, and then you spend an hour out on the range with that. We have concealed carry in Spanish, May 12th and May 19th. It's 2 days. So we're doing a concealed carry. If English is your second language and Spanish is your first, we can accommodate you on May 12th and May 19th. And May 18th, we have the fundraiser for Chris Henning. We have the machine gun shoot. Come and shoot the machine gun for a donation to Chris's campaign. That's the upcoming events.
Terrific. I remember what I was going to say. So this is going to ultimately appear on YouTube, and there are a lot of people out there, and all you need is a little laptop. You don't even need a laptop. You can go to the library and upload your videos. And not everyone in the firearms industry is as experienced as everyone else. So I would just caution everybody out there that just because you found a YouTube channel and it's entertaining doesn't necessarily mean it's good information. So I would just ask the listeners, as they're getting educated, which I completely agree with, to be a little bit cautious on who they listen to, and I would get a variety of different pundits to give different perspectives, because I have a different perspective than John does, because I have different experience than he does, and it benefits the shooter if they get multiple different viewpoints. Would you agree or disagree?
I always say here at the start, you could talk to 50 different experienced gun people, and you can get 50 different opinions. You need to sort through what's good and bad, and you need to figure out what works for you. Like, there's no exact manual for this.
So I want to tell a story about what you just said, because you struck a nerve in a good way. My middle son, like all the kids in the area, go to Park District to play basketball, and he had a coach once, and I went to high school with the coach. Great guy. He volunteered his time, but he hadn't coached basketball before. So my son is a lefty. That doesn't mean that's how he voted. That just means that's his correct arm. And, a little joke there. And he was getting about 25% of the team points. And I'm a dad, so I'm keeping score, even though there's no score. And the coach said, that's not what the book says, that how you're supposed to shoot the basket. So he had my son change his shooting stance, and he got very few points from that point forward. So you had said something that struck my nerve, and that was, do what works for you. As long as you're hitting the target and you're safe and there's no danger and you have a different way of doing it. There's different people that have physical issues. I had someone in my class last weekend, and he had a physical issue with one of his hands. He had to shoot one-handed, and that's how he adapted. So it's okay to deviate from what the, quote, manual, even though you said there's no manual, from what the traditional educational, you have to stand this way or this way. You could do something in the middle. So just want to let everyone know that just because it says it in the book doesn't mean you have to follow the book, except for safety rules. Those are immutable.
Yes, no doubt. The four safety rules. The funny thing is, you just struck a nerve with me. The hardest person to help in the store here is when someone comes in. My friend said to get this, and my friend's an expert, and he's told me to get this gun, and it really doesn't fit them. It doesn't fit the need they have for it. So yeah, when you got to sort through this information.
That's exactly why I go with my customers when they're ready to purchase a firearm. I give them support. I will never tell anyone you need to get a Glock, Smith & Wesson, Springfield. I mean, it doesn't matter the brand. We have to see what fits in their hand, what they're comfortable with. Can they reach the controls? That's huge. Someone might have a short fingers and they can't reach the magazine release, or they can't reach the slide stop, and that's also important. So while there's people out there that are well-intentioned, the shooter has to actually feel the firearm, which makes buying online a little bit difficult, because once you buy it, it's kind of like a car. You drive it off the lot and it loses value, and now it's used. So I would much prefer people go to a store. I'd much prefer people go to RMG to feel the firearms and see what they are and see if they're going to work for you. Can you again reiterate what RMG's website is?
RMG's website is rmggunsandammunition.com. Our email address is rmgguns1@gmail.com. We're RMG Guns on Facebook. And you can always call us here at 847-415-5500. We have humans answering the phone.
Say it ain't so.
We do.
That's awesome. What final thoughts can you share regarding the gun industry as a whole, RMG specifically, new shooters out there, old shooters out there? What final thoughts can you offer?
So you come to RMG first because we're friendly and we have patience and we help you. The next reason you come to RMG is when you come back and you have to take your gun apart to clean it, and you want somebody to show you how to do it. You got somebody that you already know. You know John, Smalley, Chavo, Jess, Tracy. So you come in and you have somebody to talk to. As far as the gun industry, everyone gets some training and be safe. These laws, obey the laws. Don't get yourself in trouble, because that's just what they want from us to do, is to ignore the law and get in trouble. Don't do it. Follow the law, and we'll see you at RMG.
Awesome. John, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to our listeners about your little slice of the world, one of my favorite places to be.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Marcus. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was John Sisek from RMG Guns, and I'm going to repeat their website, which is the letter R as in Robert, the letter M as in Mary, the letter G as in guns, then spelled out guns, spelled out and spelled out ammunition.com. We mentioned Chris Henning, who's running for office. Now, I am actually donating a swag bag to one of his fundraisers. I don't know which one he's going to give it out at, but the swag bag's going to have the 3 books that I wrote, some other materials, something that looks like a revolver cylinder but is a pencil holder that I 3D printed home, as well as a blanket keychain, a couple other little, everyone loves swag. So that's going to happen at one of his events. If you're interested, you need to contact him to find out when he's going to be giving that away. So stay tuned. We're going to take a little break here. I want my listeners to know that this is my dream, teaching people about safety. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for my listeners, I couldn't live my dream. So on behalf of my family and myself, I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to live my dream. And I also want to continue to live my dream, and I'm excited to continue to spread the word of safety. Recently, I began a new service as a conference keynote speaker. So if anyone would like for me to speak at future events, or if anyone knows of an introduction or would like to discuss how we can work with one another, I'd love to do just that. The keynote speaking website is www.stress2logic.com. That is STRESS2logic.com. If you're aware of any conference speaking engagements where you'd like to have me speak, I'd love an introduction. You can always share my electronic business card, which is Marcus Melnick, MarcusMelnick.com. Now, back to the show. Speaking of books, if you're interested in reading some of my books. I have 3 of them. The first one is on handguns. The second one is on how to survive mass violence and what the human stress response is. And the third one is called Overcoming the Hot Stress Mess, which I also deliver in keynote and conference training. My website to order books, if you're interested, is www.theoppositeofsafe.com, which is the title of the second book. The most recent one is called Overcoming the Hot Stress Mess, and I'm also working on an article for either a psychology or sociology publication. I'm going to be submitting those shortly. On a theory that I have that once this gets published, I will share with my listeners. Also, May 18th is a very popular date. Not only is there the machine gun shoot at RMG Guns, but I also am having a concealed carry class May 18th to 19th. If you're interested in attending, you need an initial or a recertification. You can sign up for the class at www.firearmmentor.com/classes. Another event on May 18th and later on September 21st is the State Line Rifle Association NRA Day Family Fun Shoot. It's at a new location at the Wisconsin Sportsmen's Association. The address there is 16010 Durand, Durand Avenue, which is also called Highway 11, and it's in Union Grove, Wisconsin. So the State Line Rifle Association NRA Family Fun Shoot involves firearms safety briefing, NRA, USECA certified instructors. They'll have handguns, rifle, trap shooting, muzzle loaders. The cost to attend is $25 for adults. Children ages 12 to 17 is $10, and those 11 and under are free with a paid parent. Space is limited. You can reach out to the State Line Rifle Association. If you just Google that, you will come up with the website. Let's see if I can find it. The website is statelinерifle.com. And you have to fill out a form, you pay the fee, and it starts at 8:30 a.m. at the clubhouse. There's a mandatory briefing for safety at 9 a.m. And you're on the range approximately from 9:45 to about 2:30. The Boy Scouts will be there so that you can purchase lunch from them. I'm guessing it'll be sandwiches. I'm not exactly sure. But the event is funded in part by the NRA Foundation. So you're going to have a variety of firearms. And this is a family thing, so you can bring your children as long as you feel that they are mature enough to handle firearms, or maybe they've handled firearms in the past. And all of the ammunition is provided because it's funded in part by the NRA Foundation and Friends of the NRA. More information can be seen if you email camp, C-A-M-P, at statelinерifle.com. And again, their website is statelinerifle.com. So they're asking you to apply ahead of time, at least 7 days before the event, because registrations received less than that may not be confirmed. You also will need a valid email address. Also, May 18th happens to be my father's birthday. Not that anyone cares, but it's also Armed Forces Day. So thank you everyone who has served. Folks, I had a concealed carry student call me this week to tell me that a couple doors down from her at the middle of the night, there were 3 masked, I'll call them burglars, who kicked in the door to an elderly woman's home. And I don't know what they were going to do, but the alarm was going off and she yelled, "Get the HELL out of my house," and the 3 goons left. So no one was hurt. There was property damage because they broke a door to get in. So this is in Deerfield, and ironically, Deerfield has, at least in the past, been a little bit of a hotbed of being anti-gun. Now, there was no gun involved in this, but very interesting that I started to look up some crime in Deerfield. and I was a little bit shocked. As recently as April 18th, there was a man who threatened to shoot a gas station employee, according to the Riverwoods Police Department blotter. Riverwoods is right next to Deerfield. And criminal charges, basically, they represent accusations by the state. No one is actually guilty until they're found guilty. So, 18-year-old from Elk Grove Village is accused of assault, criminal damage to property, and was arrested at 3:04 a.m. on April 14th following an incident at Thornton's gas station. According to police, the 18-year-old shattered 2 bottles of wine and threatened to shoot an employee after they refused to sell tobacco products to him without an ID. He was released and assigned a court date of mid-May. Also in Deerfield, dated April 12th of this year. April 12th, that's very recent. Police are crediting de-escalation techniques used in 2 separate incidents over the span of several days for preventing potentially deadly incidents in unincorporated Deerfield and Volo, but we're talking about Deerfield. In the first incident, which occurred Tuesday in unincorporated Deerfield, the Lake County Sheriff's Office was called to a home for a report of an armed man having a, quote, mental episode, end quote. The 911 caller said they were fearful that the man was going to kill his child and the child's mother, who were both in the home. Upon arrival, police were able to get the woman and child out of the home. The man barricaded himself in a bathroom with a gun. Police spent nearly 2 hours calmly talking to the man in an effort to de-escalate the situation, and eventually he agreed to exit the bathroom, leaving the gun behind. He was then taken to an area hospital for a mental health evaluation and treatment. A semi-automatic pistol was recovered from the bathroom, and then it was placed in evidence. And 2 days later, something similar happened in Volo, Illinois. Another incident, also April of this year. A man ripped a gas pump nozzle out of a customer's hand, according to the police blotter, again in Riverwoods. Same gas station. A 66-year-old man from Winnetka is accused of battery. It happened at 9:15 at night, April 7th. And basically there was a charge happened. The charge stemmed from an incident that happened on April 4th at this Thornton gas station, in which the offender reportedly grabbed the arm of a customer and forcefully removed a gas pump nozzle from the other person's hand. This action resulted in gas being sprayed upon the other person. The offender was released and assigned a court date. So I don't really know what's happening in the world today. I mean, I do know what's happening in the world today, but it seems like there's a lot of these small microaggression incidents throughout areas that were known to be safe. Deerfield is not a rough area, neither is Riverwoods. They're quite high-end areas, yet there are people who have issues, and it possibly could be from the pandemic or stemming from the pandemic. A mental issue might have been exacerbated, and I see this a lot. I see this with people being very, very stressed very easily, including myself. I have buttons just like everyone else, and that's one of the reasons why I deliver keynote speeches on overcoming the human stress response. If you'd like to hear one of those speeches, you can always reach out to us at marcusmelnick.com. That is our electronic business card, and that is spelled MarcusMelnick. And I do have a sample reel on my speaking website, and that website is stress2logic.com. That is STRESS2logic.com. I've been speaking in front of various audiences, including a TEDx and a law enforcement conference, and there's some speaking opportunities coming up. In June, I'll be at the International Association of Business Communicators in downtown Chicago, and I'm soliciting several other local conferences and non-local conferences to deliver either the Overcoming the Hot Stress Mess keynote or how to deal with agitated people. And then how to deal with agitated people talks about their behavior pre-violence so that you can de-escalate. Just like in one of the stories, the Deerfield police de-escalated the man from the bathroom with the gun. Same type of thing. Although it's not a hostage negotiation seminar. It is a, wow, this other person is agitated. Let's see what we can do to find out what their agitation is and mitigate. With all these violent incidents and even minor violent incidents that are occurring, don't you think it's time to take a concealed carry class? Now, these classes are not all bang, bang, shoot 'em up. They are de-escalation, avoiding the trouble, situational awareness, and other things that will help you avoid trouble and then get out of trouble. One of the things that I teach pretty consistently is to avoid the fight. We're not in high school anymore where we have this machismo where someone challenges us to a fist fight. We have to respond. No, we don't. We're adults now. We have to walk away from conflict. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was all about education and what they do at RMG Guns. So tune in next week for our next episode. Thank you very much and stay safe. We have monthly concealed carry license CCL classes in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Dates can be seen at firearmmentor.com/classes. If you have a question, we can be reached at www.firearmmentorcard.com. That is our electronic business card, has all of our contact information and links in it. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll see you at the shooting range. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor signing off. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.